The following is a presentation of 5 things every parent should know about teen substance abuse. For more information, please visit our website at www.5thingsonline.com. Five things every parent should know about teen substance abuse. Part 1 in a 5-part series. Number 1. The problem is not the problem. Hindsight is 20/20. Frequent comments from parents of teens who have developed a substance abuse problem include, "If only we had known then what we know now," or "Why didn't we see it?" This typically occurs when parents begin to put the pieces together by looking back and identifying the signs that they didn't realize were signs, such as lying, stealing, school performance slipping, change of friends, or smoking cigarettes. This is only a fraction of the potential signs of teen substance abuse, but illustrates the first axiom of the problem is not the problem. The first sign of chemical use is usually not the chemical use itself. The definition of drug problem actually has more to do with the consequences of behavior associated with the chemical use than the actual chemical use itself. Consider an example. 13-year-old Johnny has made some new friends that smoke pot. Over the course of several months, Johnny's parents catch him in several lies regarding his whereabouts, and he's increasingly testing limits with regards to his curfew. Concerned about his dishonest behavior and the problems it is also causing between mom and dad with regards to how they deal with it, they go to family counseling. Or another example. 14-year-old Susie has gotten in the habit of skipping first period because she's going to Lucy's house every morning and smoking pot because neither of Lucy's parents are home. Susie's grades drop and she ends up getting truancy charges filed. The judge sentences her to complete community service, and Susie's parents ground her for misbehaving. In both of these examples, it's the inappropriate behavior relative to the chemical use that's identified prior to awareness that chemical use is even occurring. And trust me, this can go on for a long time before hard evidence of actual drug or alcohol use is discovered. This leads to the reason behind the second axiom of the problem is not the problem. Initial intervention is frequently misguided, thus unsuccessful. Unfortunately, a lot of time can get wasted in the family therapist's office if the cause of the identified problem is not accurately determined. How many parents have I had in my office over the years bemoaning the fact that they wasted so much time and money with misguided efforts in addressing their child's problem? Here's where we see the significance of hindsight being 20/20. When we correctly identify the problem, things start to make sense. Years of assessing teens has led to what I've identified as the 3 rules of thumb in teen substance abuse assessment. Number 1, where there's smoke, there's fire. Seemingly insignificant or isolated events are usually not insignificant or isolated. The gut feeling that something's wrong usually proves to be right. Most kids don't end up in my office by mistake. A rather bold-sounding claim, but it's something I tell parents frequently. While it occasionally happens, it's unfortunately all too rare an occurrence that I assess a teen and can tell the parents, "I believe this is an isolated incident and I don't see any signs that this is a problem." To the contrary, what I'm usually telling parents turns out to be a validation of the gut feeling they've had for a while. Yet, because of the way a substance abuse problem affects the family system, they've been afraid to trust their feelings and address the situation because they don't want to rock the boat. Number 2. The 1 in 10 rule. For every one thing a parent knows, there's usually 10 things they don't know. Parents never, I mean never, are surprised or disagree when confronted with the 1 in 10 rule. That being said, They're often shocked at the results of a substance abuse assessment. Not necessarily with the fact that their child indeed has a problem. Their gut feeling already told them that. They are, however, typically stunned when they find out the gory details of what all has been occurring with regards to the actual chemical use. Number 3, you can count on the disease. Chemical dependency is a diagnosable illness that is primary, progressive, chronic, and potentially fatal. It doesn't go away. The client who does not get help when initially identified will inevitably be seen again in jail, the emergency room, psychiatric hospital, or the morgue. I learned about what we refer to as the disease concept in my training as a chemical dependency counselor, but I didn't really appreciate the reality of this until I began working outside of actual treatment, that is, in a setting where I had much longer-term contact with my clients. It was when I was assessing kids as a student assistance counselor within a school district that I began to witness the process of A. Student is assessed as having a problem and referred to treatment. B. The student or parents do not follow through with the referral. And C. Student is assessed again, perhaps a year later, under dramatically worse circumstances. And that's not to mention the ones I didn't see again, only heard about, in jail or dead. It's unfortunate, but it happens all the time. It's the nature of this problem. This discussion obviously leads to issues that will be addressed in further detail in parts 2 through 5. For example, more kids should end up in my office by mistake. In other words, assessment should occur sooner rather than later. This is addressed in part 2. Or the reason recommendations are not followed can be attributed to denial, which is obviously a significant factor in dealing with substance abuse and is addressed in part 3. For parents of a child who has suffered a drug or alcohol problem, this is all so easy to see once they've gotten to the place where they can see it. Unfortunately, this usually isn't until they're at the point of treating an addiction problem and receiving the education that goes along with this. Looking back from this perspective, hindsight is indeed 20/20. Improved community education and public awareness is the key to moving from hindsight to foresight, and as a result, more effective intervention.